Welcome back. My name is Yana the Heretic, and this is my channel, The Unpopular Opinion Becoming Popular. And we are going to burst into the quarter of civilization starting May 3rd. And this was extremely special for me because I, yet again felt extremely intimate within time, which is like, pretty great to say when you get out of your Saturn return, where time's just like dawning on you and now you're finally out, out of jail or I forget the room. What is it called? The one where you're like in a straitjacket, but you understand. That's what Saturn return felt like. But we're bursting into the quarter of civilization, and we're starting with goddess Maya, and it feels really great to have landed in a place so fertile and green and lush, in springtime was just blooming like so heavily and hard here. And it's finally like that we exited the passage of the quarter of mutation into this like portal of like lush greenery, this like Eden, into this next chapter. And we started with the bull and Taurus season. And as we know, for the bull and Taurus season, they really stand and protect what they have earned with hard work, and they love nice things. They love the luxury and the ability to have earned these material goods, and, they're protecting their fertility and everything that they made happen and bloom and talents and all of the things that they have stood for and achieved. So they feel very deserving of that. And Goddess Maya just shines her light, her sun rays are just there, and she welcomes the communication within her soil, between all creatures again. And like, the ice is really melted off and they're all starting to speak and wake up. And, it's definitely still rainy. It's still like, okay, we need to nourish the ground. We need to, give like all these pollinators what they need and the nectar. So like, spring's blooming, allergy season, whatever, like it's just so active outside. We had tons of I forget what they're called. It's like orange blossoms, and it happened fast, and that's really the portal that we enter. And the quarter of civilization is definitely the most yin of all quarters, and it's all about, the G center, your identity center, and the throat. That is the main theme of this quarter. And we start with gate 2, which is the gate of direction of the self and higher knowing. And I'll show you this hexagram here. So it is all yin lines, and that creates this tunnel, which can be extremely vaginal. But it's the fertility gate. It's the direction of the self. It's higher knowing. It's the ability to have that column of like what is considered a channeled force, and you're being directed by something that's a higher self, a higher knowing. And it's really like the driver, that knows where it's going, and it doesn't have to use the mind at all. It's like, I know exactly how to get to where I need to go. This is the gate of the personal manager, somebody that can, tell you where you're supposed to be, like what role you play. So we're going to be heavily talking about the form. So the form in civilization, each person plays a role. If you look at a chess game, you have the queen and the king and the bishop and the, rook, and they all, make their certain moves, and they don't, the queen is the only one that can move wherever she wants. So there's a role that you play in society. There is a place that you are developing, in civilization for yourself. So this is very much the ability to bloom into that form. And it's generally like where you're going to find, the next cycle. It's what you're really looking forward to perceiving. I like to write a lot about what I wish, to achieve eventually. And every single year I feel like it, on some level, happens. You build up that experience, and Gate 2 is the very beginning of that. But they don't like working like so much, they like to tell people how to help them, and as long as they have the right team, they're not going to feel overwhelmed. And they're definitely have to sculpt it, though. This is all about what you do with your form, how you achieve the muscle memory in order to achieve mastery eventually. So it's definitely about the physical body, and about where you're being guided. This is more so like the gate at the beginning, where it's mindless. It's just a knowing that you have, that you're like, yeah, this is really where I'm supposed to go. And you just go there, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even have to think about it. This is great, And people that have it, they have this inner knowledge. It comes from their identity. This is an identity gate, and its counterpart, harmonic gate, is in the sacral. So it's all about the ability to do something to get there. The 2 is the driver, so it knows how to get there and knows how to become what it needs to become, but it needs the resources and, the nourishment from gate 14. And together they make the channel of the beat. And the channel of the beat is all about the pulse energy on how to get to where you need to go. It's rhythm. It's the rhythm of your body, this natural way of walking, talking, expressing itself. And yeah, it's a great one. I have this channel, and it's rewarding when you're a musician, that's for sure, because you just feel this pulse, and it helps a lot, because you really develop your own signature. And that's what the 2s are doing. They're developing their own signature in the world. They're standing by it. You feel extremely inspired and fertile to start waking up and doing something, to get to your goals. And this is a quarter at the cross of the Sphinx. And it's the eternal soul's direction that you're headed towards. It's like where your life's calling, is going to ceaselessly yearn towards that, towards the end of what it is, your purpose or fate, if you will. It guides you back, if you get off track, the two knows how to get you back on track, but yeah, it definitely doesn't want to do it alone. So let's see, there was a word in here that I really liked. Coordination. So they're a coordinator. That's the word I was thinking. It was driving me crazy. But yeah, so their ability to coordinate is fantastic. It's amazing to watch. It's like the director of a film or a director in general that, is constantly inspired by intuition, and it's really beautiful to watch. Maya eventually ends up birthing Hermes, the messenger, and I think that's really amazing to see occur, because this is a heavily throat, quarter. So we're going to be talking a lot. We're going to be sharing a lot. There's going to be a lot of messages that you're going to receive. There's going to be messages you don't want, but you're going to still receive them, because we're here to talk. We're here to talk about what's wrong with the world. We're here to talk about what's right, what's okay. We're here to talk about ideas for the future that will benefit, human existence or not. And without talking about it, we're really not going to be able to get other people interested to work with us, to work on these projects with us. We're not going to have a team unless, we really share what we're hoping to achieve. And that's all that generators want to do. They want to do something with their fuel and their energy. So they need to be inspired by something and get hooked on something, and to develop their own, form throughout time. The harmonic gate 14 is the gate of the power of skills and possession in great measure. And you can't just fast forward through time. You can't just be like, well, I'm an architect, and it's like, when did you build anything? Did you get your hands dirty at all? So it's the harmonic here because it really applies. It gives you the skill set, the actual formed skill set that, you're like, oh, okay, you've done this before. I can tell you're very confident at this. And we don't need to tell you what to do. So, we are in the individual age, but we need people to help us, and that's what brings community together and helps people reach goals much faster. This is the Knowing Circuit, and I liked what my hypnotherapist said. It's like the ability to crash back into your higher self. So it's online. So you really are not doubting yourself here. You're allowing yourself to be sure, be sure of where you're going and where you're headed. And that's very much a bull thing if you think about it. They're very stubborn because they're like, no, I fucking know the way. I don't need you to tell me where I'm headed, okay? I can get there. Yeah. This is about the feminine ability to birth new life into the world. And yeah, how motherly love really shapes the forms of children in society. I was really potent about this gate. And it really depends on the form of the mother and how she develops her form throughout life in order to create the being, the child that has a place in the world. A lot of us have felt extremely lost in the world, and it really depends, and it's our journey for sure, but it is really nice to be able to be told how to do what we need to do and to exist in this universe under all these laws that we are living. And it's about making it yours. And since it's so open, it's the open field, it is considered the receptive, because you're allowing yourself to feel the vibration and the hum and listen, and to just have that internal awareness like pulse within you, and be able to hear yourself in the higher self. Yeah, that's another thing that was really like potent for me is the hypnotherapist session, and knowing that this gate was coming through, and just being online with my higher self again, and just being like, okay, like I really gotta shut my mind up and really think like everything that I'm doing now, I shouldn't be doubting, any part of my life. Even though I'm not getting necessarily instant gratification, and it's going to take some time to develop what I am, and what I'm here to share as an educator, as a teacher, as a, gear technician, whatever it is, as a musician and artist. Like, I have to just keep with it, because eventually things will come and mastery will come, and Hermes will come. We'll be able to really digest the information enough for ourselves in order for other people to understand what we're really going on about, and yeah, we all have a role here, and we pay our way to pave our way. We have to use physical fuel and exertion in order to really get going, get everything that we choose to do and see in the world. We really have to sculpt ourselves first in order to be able to handle that. So hopefully that really painted a solid depiction of what we entered in as the quarter of civilization, the quarter of form. And the questions of the week here are: do you believe that being one with Earth Mother will actually aid you in your success, in civilization's success over time? Global warming didn't manifest on its own, right? We chose a path as a civilization for our own comfort. So we see how the development of comfort, has really poisoned a lot of pathways in the earth and Maya. So how do we now talk about what needs to happen for the future in order to be more one and vibrating more on the earth energy, instead of being in the illusion of separateness and, just being like, well, everything's for me and my existence, and I'm not going to really think about how this plays a role in like the ether or, in an actual physical like realm. Because all of our systems really, they stream out. So whatever you think and decide will affect something very far away from you most of the time. So we need to rebalance that shit. How does the illusion of separateness create illness in the world? How do we get more awkward and fed by the screens in society to provide all of our entertainment and attention from others, rather than physically writing a letter or going out to see your friends or family? Do you find that to be true in the long run? Yes, screens are great for education, but they're not so great for connection as much as you think. If your family lives across the world, absolutely great, for connection. But yeah, sometimes if they're close to you, it's harder to like go visit people and you know, instead of just giving them a FaceTime call or something. What form do you wish to embody in this next cycle? That the length of each summer day can cast its rays upon this new self. What would you look like or wield? What about your appearance or home will change? Draw your new forms, blueprint, and add things to your wish list. Make a priority list with prices. Yeah, that's a great one. Have you experienced what your higher self is? Something deep within you that just knows where to go. If you lost the way, can you experiment how to shake it back into the dimension you're in? You know, recommend hypnosis for sure. Liz Landon. What does civilized appear to be? Do you like that word to describe yourself? Do you hate it? What false perceptions of civilization can you dissolve? So, you know, words hold a lot of matter. That's why words are magic. This mosquito's holding a lot of matter right now. Oh, that's gross. But, what does civilized really depict? Like, I feel civilized some of the time. But I'm also, I mean, on the outside looking in, could appear not civilized, but, you know, in the right situation outside, you know, on the subway somewhere, like, I would appear civilized, you know, but it just really depends, right? It depends on where you are, and how can you break that down? How can you let it dissolve? Like, you know, it's a love or hate type of word for sure. But I hope that really helped you digest and understand this new quarter of civilization. Definitely ask any questions that may arise for you, and I will get back to you very shortly with an answer. I appreciate you all, and I will see you in the next video under Goddess Maya.